Yo, what's up, world? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in. And today, we're going to go over and react to a Bleacher Report article that every team's dream free agent signing as we're a short time away from the NFL new league year starting and free agency beginning. Let's take a little look at every team's best dream financial signing. But before we do that, make sure you guys leave this video a like as it continues to help this channel to grow. I want to continue to grow. I want to continue to get things going this off season, and the content won't stop. Leave this video a like and make sure you click the subscribe button, notification bell, so you will not miss anything that I post. But without further ado, let's get into it. Today's video was being brought to you by SeatGeek. Yes, football season is over, but you still have the NBA season. You still have baseball right around the corner, concerts, comedy shows. SeatGeek is your place to get your tickets. Now, let's just say I want to go to an upcoming Chicago Bulls game, me being from Chicago, and I'm going to go to that Bulls game. I'm going to select 2 tickets, and the green means good seats and good deals. The red means bad deals, and the tickets are graded on a scale of 1 through 10. And if you want to get your tickets to go to anything today, and make sure you click the link in the description and use code APW Sports for 10% at checkout. Once again, click the link in the description to save yourself 10% at checkout with SeatGeek. Now, let's get back to the video. All right, so we got the perfect 2026 free agent signing for every NFL team. Let's get this thing going. AFC East, the Buffalo Bills, Quay Walker. I can see that because that Matt Milano is a little bit older. They do need a lot of help on that defensive side of the ball. I still would say a wide receiver for them, but Quay Walker can help that middle linebacking core, so I can see that. The Miami Dolphins, Malik Willis, I think that will be perfect for them as far as getting the transition quarterback or the quarterback of now. Do I think Malik Willis is solving the problem for the future? No. But I think he will be that perfect bridge quarterback along with Jeff Hafley, who actually came from the Packers as their new head coach. I would like this. I would like this. New England Patriots, Isaac Samalu. No offensive line. It wasn't, I want to say you continue to let that left side grow, but I wouldn't be surprised they brought something in. Me personally, I would say if they brought in a wide receiver, that would be even more better to get him some weapons so I could see giving him a wide receiver as well with Drake May. I'm not opposed to offensive line help. The Jets, Tariq Woolen. Now, granted, this team needs a lot. Tariq Woolen will be a good signing for them if they want to kind of speed up things a little bit. With his coming off a very good year with the Seattle Seahawks, Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. So, I mean, it's not a bad thing, but this team just needs a lot. So, any free agent I think would come and help that football team, I mean, it's worth it. Next is the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens, Boye Mafe. Now, that pass rush can use a little help. Van Noy's getting a little older. Jesse Minter is now their head coach, so they're going to probably put more of an emphasis on that defensive side of the ball. So I can see that. I can really see that. That can really bolster this team. So even though he only had 2 sacks last season, which gives me cause to pause, but in that system, I think he could be well. Cincinnati Bengals, Khalil Mack. Now, this was interesting because I think Trey Hendrickson is probably out the door because he's probably going to be a little bit costly for what they would want to pay, especially with the Bengals ownership. Just, I don't know what the hell they be doing sometimes. Khalil Mack is a little bit of an interesting one. I mean, Shamar Stewart, I still don't understand why he went so high with his lack of production in college. I don't know. Khalil Mack is older. He's 35, and this Bengals team, yes, it does have a bit ready to win now kind of mentality, but I'm just not sure he will fit the Bengals, as I think the Bengals are a defense that kind of needs to be young. Yes, he's older. Yes, he's still productive at the age, but man, I don't know. Rasheed Walker, Cleveland Browns now is definite because the Browns have basically their entire offensive line as free agents, and that is something they need to fix, whether it's Doris Sanders or whoever it is at that quarterback position. They need to fix that offensive line, which who knows what's going to be back, who knows what's going to look like in 2026 with everybody being free agents. And Rasheed Walker coming off a really solid season with those damn Green Bay Packers, I can see. Pittsburgh Steelers, Rashid Shaheed. Now, this makes a lot of sense. Get somebody with some speed that can attack outside of DK Metcalf. It makes sense, but I think the Steelers need more of a route runnings type, possession type, I can get open at any point type of receiver. Now, Rashid Shaheed is going to beat anybody with his speed. DK Metcalf has the speed too, and they are somewhat similar. somewhat. Even though you get that deep threat in Shaheed, I think you need more of a route running, possession type, I can get open type of receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers to pair with DK Metcalf. Like I said, Shaheed would take the top off of defense. He would do a lot of things. He's versatile. You can do reverses. You can do the end arounds to get him the football, punt return, all things like that to make this team more explosive, so I wouldn't be mad at it. But for what they could use outside of DK, I think a different option could be used here. But who knows? Rashishi is not a bad signing. AFC South. Houston Texans interior offensive lineman David Edmunds, and God knows that offensive line needs help. And a lot of people that I've been seeing of blaming C.J. Stroud for all of this. Yes, he did not play well, but God, when you have the offensive line that he had, you got to get calls to pause a little bit. You have to get calls to pause. Like I said, the receiving class is not that big in this free agency because George Pickens now has gotten franchise tag, and he I think might be the best thing. I wouldn't be opposed to improving that offensive line, I'll tell you that much. Indianapolis Colts, Devin Lloyd. This is interesting. I think they're probably going to look at wide receiver at some point during this offseason with potential of Alec Pierce being out the door. Devin Lloyd is not a bad choice for that linebacker position to help improve this defense that kind of sputtered a little bit down the stretch of the season. I can see that. Next is Jacksonville Jaguars, Jarrod Franklin Myers that can help with the interior of the defensive line. I think that will help the Jaguars a lot. This defense has a couple of questions, like Devin Lloyd, obviously. We shall see. I think they could use maybe running back, depending on what happens to Etienne, but Jack Franklin Myers is a good one. Tennessee Titans, Jaylon Phillips, they need a lot. This team needs a lot. They need a lot of wide receiver help to pair with Cam Ward. I think they could use some help on their secondary. Pass rush like Jaylon Phillips will help, and that would be a good signing for them. But yeah, this team could use a lot. But Jaylon Phillips would not be a bad start for free agency. AFC West. Broncos, Alec Pierce. I think this is a solid move for them to get more weapons with Bo Nix, with Sutton. I think it would be a nice move. I like Franklin as a weapon for the Broncos myself, but I think they could use a little bit more. And Pierce probably might cost them a little more than what they could possibly be willing to pay, but they do need to bolster up that weaponry around Bo Nix, who showed potential in year 2 of his NFL career. So I can see that. Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Etienne. Now, Breece Hall makes a ton of sense here as well. Kenneth Walker is also on the market, so he makes sense. The Kansas City needs to boost their run game to take a lot of the pressure off of a guy like a Mahomes, assuming he comes back for week 1. Now, the wide receiving help, maybe that too. I think they could use a little bit of help in the linebacking core with their defense. But me personally, running back should be their first thing to kind of get this running game going, because Pacheco and Hunt are both heading for free agency, and they really did not have a great 2026 or 2025. Pacheco has struggled with injuries for a good portion of the last 2 years. Hunt is a little older. I can see them going to Breece Hall, Travis Etienne, Kenneth Walker route. Raiders, Jawan Jennings, you're going to need some help. Assuming you're going to draft Mendoza out of Indiana, which is all signs is pointing towards that. Fernando Mendoza would need wide receiver help. Maybe a guy like Alec Pierce can be a solution here. Mike Evans they have here, I don't see him going to the Raiders. I really don't. But you're going to have some weaponry to help develop your young quarterback. So Jawan Jennings makes some sense here. Alec Pierce will make sense here too. Shaheed will make sense too, but we shall see. Chargers, Elijah Vera Tucker. Now, that would be good, but Vera Tucker has been struggling with injuries as well, like of Rashawn Slater, like of Joe Alt. And then Mekhi Becton thought was going to be brought in to help. He did not pan out as well as they thought he could. Vera Tucker, he's a very good player when healthy. It's just the point of, when is he healthy? Anything to boost this offensive line so Justin Herbert won't be running around like a duck. I don't know. I'm trying to get a term. He just won't be running around so much. So that makes sense. Next is the NFC East. And the Cowboys, Jamel Dean will make perfect sense to help boost the secondary. Trayvon Diggs is now out of the door. DeRon Bland, yes, he can get picks, but I don't think he's that type of shutdown corner. Jamel Dean is more of a shutdown type of corner. A boost will definitely help this Cowboys defense because they really have a Super Bowl caliber offense. Really good running game with now Javonte Williams being extended. George Pickens being brought back on a franchise tag. They need just to be middle of the pack defensively. And you got some things. Trey Hendrickson could be a point here too. New York Giants, Tyler Linderbaugh, I hope that would improve the interior of their offensive line. They have a defense that's growing with Thibodeau, who could possibly be gone, who knows? But you have an Abdul Carter, you have a Dexter Lawrence, you have a Brian Burns. Maybe getting some interior help in your offensive line could be a big boost because you're gonna have to run the football with Jackson Dart at cornerback second year. I think a pass run balance would be a much needed thing, and having a boost of your interior offensive line will help. Tight end Isaiah Likely. It's looking like Dallas Goedert may be gone. Free agency, Kyle Pitts is going to be overpriced for him. Their defense is good, but I think if Dallas Goedert's out the door, Isaiah Likely can make some sense here. Help boost your passing attack. They might address wide receiver in the draft, depending on what happens with A.J. Brown coming up in the coming weeks. We shall see. Commanders, Trey Hendrickson, that makes a ton of sense because of the fact of they need pass rush help. That defense was bad last year. And I think even if Jaden Daniels is healthy, he only gets that team a little bit, just a bit so far because that defense was just not very good in 2025. An addition of a Trey Hendrickson can help boost that pass rush with that defensive line, so that will make sense for them. NFC North, and you guys know I have vested interest here. Chicago Bears, Brian Cook. This is interesting. He's a bit younger. You have a guy like a Jaquan Brisker who all signs is pointing towards him not being on the roster anymore. Kevin Byard is still due for an extension. He's still due for free agency. You got Nahshon Wright, who I've always said will be the odd man out of the secondary. It looks like he may be, I don't know where they're going with this, but Brian Cook, if you don't get edge rush in the trade or something like that, I think he can come in and help this Bears defense. He's only 26 years old, so he's still young. He's a really good tackle. He's a really good football player. I would like to see him if things don't work out with Brisker, because I think Brisker towards the later of the year did play better. But the Bears defensively, I thought was going to need changes anyway, especially after their performance outside of the turnovers in 2025. So Brian Cook, I think, could be a big help in the way that Dennis Allen runs his defense. Detroit Lions interior offensive line, Kevin McGovern. Now, they did kind of suffer a bit on the offensive line with Ragnar's retirement. Gaskell was kind of hit or miss. The interior of the offensive line was kind of what hurt this running game. And while the running game wasn't as prominent, now losing Ben Johnson does help with that, but the running game wasn't as great. And then on top of that, at the time of me recording this video, David Montgomery has been traded to the Texans. Interior offensive line is going to be a big help to help Jahmyr Gibbs because I think he's continuing to develop. But if you want to be a running football team and play stuff for play action, you're going to have to boost the center position, the interior offensive line. So Connor McGovern makes sense. Packers, Greg Newsome II. They need a boost in that secondary, and Greg Newsome will help. And I don't want to see the Packers get any better. So that's that. But if I had to say something, yeah, cornerback, that secondary was a bit of their weak spot, and it was a bit of a weak spot in a bit of their comeback losses against my Chicago Bears and Bears victories and that, and in the playoffs. Secondary, especially in the second half, wasn't great. Maybe a little bit pass rush help. No, but you see how Michael Parsons, Rashawn Gary, he's been a hit or miss at times, but Greg Newsome, that secondary needs some boosting. Vikings, Cam Curl. This is interesting. Harrison Smith was probably out or headed towards retirement. You're going to have to replace him. Cam Curl's been really solid throughout his career with the Rams. And I think the Rams, I'll get to those later, but the Vikings really need to boost their secondary, especially with Harrison Smith possibly announce his retirement. I think he's going to retire, or he's probably going to sign like a short deal somewhere else. I think he's out of Minnesota, so Cam Curl will be a good replacement. Next is the NFC South. Falcons, Jaylon Watson, A.J. Terrell, big time needed help outside of him. And Jaylon Watson had a really solid season with the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm interested to see if the Chiefs are going to try to bring him back. The Falcons secondary do need a little bit of a boost. We'll see how this pass rush things goes with the whole James Pierce situation, the offseason thing. We're going to see how they're going to do with tight end if Kyle Pitts decides to come back, or I think they franchised him already, but Jaylon Watson could be a big help. Carolina Panthers, Bradley Chubb. Now, this team really does need pass rush help. I really believe that Bradley Chubb has been a bit banged up the last few years, but and then the Dolphins haven't really been any better, but I think if he's healthy, he could provide a boost to this Carolina Panthers front that did not get after the quarterback a lot. Derek Brown, their interior offensive lineman, led the team with 5 sacks. So they're going to need some pass rush help. New Orleans Saints, Romeo Doubs. I think they can help. That will help the growth and development of Tyler Show, alongside with my boy Chris Olave from The Ohio State University. You got Brandon Cooks that was there last year, traded. You got Rashid Shaheed that was traded. You're going to need some weaponry to help continue developing Tyler Shough. Romeo Doubs looks like he's out at Green Bay, and I think he would be a very good fit with the New Orleans Saints. Still keep him young, still keep this team developing, but that will really help their wide receiver core 2026. And then Buccaneers edge, Odafe Oweh. And this team really needs pass rush help in the worst way if they don't get Max Crosby or somebody like that in the trade. Could he go back to Baltimore? I think he may go back to Baltimore, but they could use some real edge rush help to get some pass rush, and I think that's a bit of a reason why this defense struggled down the stretch, because they were not able to get after the quarterback. So I will go with Odafe Oweh. I think that's a good move. NFC West, Arizona Cardinals, Breece Hall. James Conner's coming off of a season-ending injury, and it was a brutal one. They can use a boost in their run game, depending on what they're going to do with this quarterback situation, and I think that's a big question. Breece Hall, to me, would be a good candidate for the Kansas City Chiefs, in my opinion, but the Arizona Cardinals could use a running game, depending on where they go with this quarterback situation, so I think this would be a good help for the Arizona Cardinals is to get Breece Hall in there. I think they can use some defensive weaponry as well, but we shall see. The Rams, Nahshon Wright for the Bears, and now this Rams secondary needed a boost. They didn't play well the later half of the year, and it showed. Emmanuel Forbes was solid, but he wasn't great when he came over to them. Nahshon Wright, now me personally, Nahshon Wright was more of a turnover machine than he was a lockdown corner. He had a really good season, do not get me wrong, but he's going to be overpriced out of Chicago. I've always believed that. And he could be a guy that can boost their secondary. I have a bit of fear that 2025 was a one-year hit. I have a fear of that with Nahshon Wright. I have a fear. But if things go well, he can help boost the Los Angeles Rams secondary. 49ers, Mike Evans. This makes a lot of sense. Brandon Ayuk is at the door. Juwan Jennings could possibly be out. George Kittle probably is going to miss a good portion of the season. And they got Kendrick Bourne also set up to be a free agent. And if he doesn't sign back with Tampa, which I think he's personally going to do, in my opinion, San Francisco makes a great place. Get some weaponry to help with Brock Purdy. This makes a ton of sense. Now, I don't think San Francisco's in their Super Bowl contending winning anymore. I don't with the whole injuries to their defensive side of the ball. They still need to boost that, and guys need to come back. But Mike Evans could be a big help if the organization does things to keep them in that window. I really do. Because Kittle's, like I said, is not going to play most of 2026. And they can might potentially lose some guys. And Ayuk is already out the door. So Mike Evans will be a big boost for their wide receiving core. And the Seattle Seahawks, Alontae Taylor, which makes sense. Because Reek Woolen could be gone. Guys like Boye Mafe could be gone. Makes sense if they are able to get some extra secondary help with some of those guys having the potential to depart. And Alontae Taylor has had a really good, solid career with the New Orleans Saints. So that could make some sense if guys depart. You still have some time. You still have cap space. Depends on what they're going to do with it. Signing Alontae Taylor could make some sense if you end up losing a guy like a Reek Woolen in free agency. But those are my thoughts on this article. What is your favorite teams need in free agency? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a great and excellent day. Leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.